We aren't selfish. We're in pain. Don't ever say we were selfish. That is by far the most insulting thing I've ever heard that anybody's ever said about anyone who's ever taken their life. This mockery of accepting the fact that somebody has taken their own life. It's like the ultimate insult. I'm a survivor. And when I was 11 years old, I attempted suicide. Now, as unbelievably hard as that is to accept, that 50 years ago that I attempted to take my own life, it's true. And remember that 6 months before, I didn't exactly run away from home, but what I did was I walked about 7-8 miles from my house to my brother's house. Now, my brother was a cop, and my thought pattern was I was tired of my older brother picking on me. I come from a large family. I'm the youngest of 7. My next oldest brother was 8 years older than me. So I'm 11, he's 19, so yeah, try standing up for yourself. Try an 11-year-old try to stand up to a 19-year-old, see how that gets you. My father was no better. His favorite line to me was, "Can't you do anything right?" Never in my entire life have I ever met anybody quite like you. Real building blocks for success. You know, don't get me wrong, my father was a good man. He worked hard, raised 6 kids. You know, like I said, I was the youngest of 7. 1 died. So, but I digress. I walk the 7 miles, I walk along the state road. It's during a school day, it's not on a weekend. And when I get to my brother opens the door and he's just utterly confused because he sees me and he's wondering like, well, where's Dad? You know, and I walk in going, hi. And he's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm tired of my brother beating me up. I was abused both physically and mentally. No, there was nothing better than torturing somebody mentally, you know. And do siblings pick on each other? Yeah, they do. But when your sibling is 8 years older than you, it could be cruel. It could be absolutely cruel. And I just wanted him to listen. I just wanted him to hear me. Because I was trying to say, I'm tired of being picked on. I'm tired of being used as a physical and emotional punching bag. And the only thing that he could see was my 11-year-old kid brother, like literally just walked by himself nearly 10 miles to get to me. And it wasn't a thing in the early 70s. You know, there wasn't the resources that we have now. And I specifically remember, like my sister on the phone with me. Now, again, all my relatives, they're older, they're married, they have their own careers, and my sister Jackie was just on this whole big tangent of what I did was wrong, I can't do this, what if something had happened to me? And I'm just on the phone with her going, yeah. Because when you attempt suicide, when you think about suicide, the only thing you think about is making the pain go away. That's the focus. That was in my case. You know, and a lot of people might sit there and go, Mark, well, what kind of pain could you possibly have been in at 11 years old? I couldn't go through a day without being told I was wrong. I couldn't go a day without being told I was worthless. I couldn't go a day without being yelled at for something. Why aren't your grades good? Well, if I'm always wrong, why should I even bother to study? Why don't you get involved in sports? And that was a big thing with my brother. Why couldn't I get involved in sports? You know, sports will give you confidence, sports will give you this. And the only thing that I could think about was if I join sports, that gives my brother another reason to laugh at me. That gives my brother another reason to make fun of me. That gives my brother another reason to criticize me. You know, being criticized, being told that you're worthless hurts, especially from family members. It is the worst. You know, it's the end of the year. It's December. And it's at a time when we reflect what we've done with our lives. Everybody always reflects. What have I done? It's the close of the year. What have I accomplished? What have I done? What have I contributed to society? And when you suffer from the pain, the anguish of having to get up in the morning and deal with another day, it's difficult. You have no idea how difficult it can be. It's hard to face the world when you believe in your heart that everything is against you. You know, I suffered as a kid being told that I was worthless. So, do you think I'm going to be, really good at sports? Do you think I'm going to try to do well at school? I've been told that I was worthless. I was told that my opinion didn't matter. I didn't matter. You know, I had always believed that if I had slipped off a cliff and was holding on by a tree branch and my family had offered to help save me, that I would look for another way, because I didn't believe that they had it in their mind. And the funny thing is, when you think about that, as far as taking your own life, for me, it came true years later. I was in a community pool with my brother, and we were swimming, and I was swimming from the deep end to the shallow end, and I was getting tired. And I was struggling to make it. I didn't think I was going to make it. And then all of a sudden, my brother had swam up and pushed me to where I could at least plant my feet on the ground of the pool. And I was going to be all right. And I turned and I looked at him. And there's my brother looking at me like, "You okay?" And I'm stunned. I'm looking at him, and the first thought that I had wasn't thank you, was, why did you save me? You hate me. And I won't ever forget that, simply because for years I couldn't figure out why he did it. He did it because he loved me. I may realize that now. But at the time, my self-worth was as low as possible. I loved being outside with my friends because I was happy there. That was the place I could go and be happy. And I would stay out until, nightfall, you know. And I hated having to come in because coming in meant being told I was worthless. There was nothing that I ever did that was right. When I failed at school and my father had to go to school, of course he would get bad reports about me because it wasn't that I did things wrong. It was that I was always failing grades. And he would yell at me, he would curse at me, and they'd be like, "You're going to sit down, you're going to buckle down, you're going to do your studying." And when I did, and he praised me for it, it just didn't have the same impact when he yelled at me. It was kind of like, "Hey, I got an 80 out of 100 on history. Well, that's good. That and 35 cents will get you on the bus." Yes, my father wasn't a very affectionate man, but he did not realize what he was doing. My brother did not realize what he was doing. I hated him with such loathing that when he went in the Navy, this is the brother that always abused me. But my father had said to me, "You haven't written your brother, right? I want you to write a letter to your brother." And I sat there and I wrote a paragraph. And I stopped. And I said to myself, I remember this day. I can't do this. I can't write a letter to someone I don't love. I hate him. And I didn't know what else to write. "Hi, how are you? What's new?" Just these bare ass nonsensical questions. How are things in the Navy? And it was it was a single paragraph. And I didn't know what else to write. How do you write a letter if you're told that you're worthless? And I know that really pissed him off. It wasn't my intention. I had no idea what to write. How do I write to somebody I don't love? But again, I guess I digress. Well, my brother takes me home. My brother Michael takes me home. He tells my brother Robert, "Leave Mark alone." And 6 months later, it's a Saturday, I write a note. I'm running away. I can't do this. And I just leave it on the kitchen table. My brother's fast asleep, my father's fast asleep, and I walk out the door. And I walk to the highway where the New Jersey Turnpike is, and I find an opening in a chain link fence, and I get on the highway and I walk towards the Newark Bay Bridge. Get on the Newark Bay Bridge. And I'm 11 years, and I'm looking down over the girders or whatever you call it. And the only thought in my mind wasn't, "I'm being selfish." The only thought in my mind was, "I don't matter. I can't go through another day of being told that I'm worthless. I can't go through another day of being told I am a complete failure." I used to be teased constantly about, that I couldn't do anything right. And psychologically, I began to believe it. When you raise somebody and you constantly put them down, that's what they're going to believe. Not that I could do it, not you couldn't do anything you set your mind to. You know, people would sit there and ask you what you want to be, and at the time I wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to do comedy. And everybody would laugh at me. My family would laugh at me. No words of encouragement, no, Mark, there are art schools you can go to, schools that are devoted to the performing arts. It was always get your head out of the clouds and learn to live in the real world. So I'm standing there and I'm not afraid. The only thing going through my mind is I'm looking over the girders at the water. I'm looking down at the water, and I don't know what the height is. I don't know. It's at least, 150, maybe 200 feet. And the only thing that's going through my mind at the time is how much is this going to hurt when I hit the water? That was my only concern. That was the only thing that kept me wondering. It wasn't a question of, can I do this, or maybe I shouldn't do this. That never entered my mind. It was, how much is this going to hurt when I hit the water? It wasn't, maybe I shouldn't do this. It was, once I do it, I'm committed, and I'm eventually going to hit the water, and what is that going to feel like? A lot of comics joke, when it comes to like falling from a great height. It's not the fall that kills you, it's a sudden stop. And I was so preoccupied that I didn't even hear or see the state trooper that literally grabbed me by my keister and literally just pulled me right off, going, "You're not going anywhere." So the getting back to the selfish part, I find it insulting. We're selfish. We can't go through a day without not wanting to exist. You just want the pain to stop. Suicide isn't a problem. For somebody who wants to commit suicide, it's the answer. The pain will go away if I go away. If I take my life, I am no longer in pain. For me, it was the constant verbal abuse, the constant physical abuse from my brother. But this horrific idea that they were selfish, so as a way to give somebody who is upset about someone who kills themselves, and again, it is the one thing that is a cause. When someone commits suicide, those people, those family members, those friends are hurt, they're devastated. I get that. But what they don't get is that, hey, how you doing? I'm fine. Now, I never offered my opinions with my family because I didn't matter. Mark, how you doing? I'm fine. I'm okay. And that's all there was to it. I didn't offer an opinion about anything. Never talked about what I played or what I did with my friends. I was really good at stickball, and I was really good at punchball, and I had so much fun playing those sports. It was so much, it would be so easy to have gotten into baseball or football. I lived on a block that was just populated by sports nuts, by jocks. you know, my friend Keith, my friend John, my friend Jeff, just to name a few. But at 11 years old, when you're growing up, you have no idea what it's like to want to be someone else. Because I wouldn't be Mark. Because Mark is worthless. You know, and I would look at my friends, you know, and so desperately wish I was them. You know, it took me a long time to learn to love myself. When the state trooper grabbed me, of course, they took me over to state trooper post or barracks or whatever they call it. It was not exactly sure where it was. It was someplace close. I remember that. It's if you Google like Newark Bay Bridge, you know, and look for the state police barracks. I don't know if it's still there, but it's been 50 years. But of course, they called my father. My father came up and picked me up, and you know, there was this silent ride home, you know, because again, my father was a very loving man, but he didn't express emotions. You know, he expressed negative emotions because men didn't hug. Men didn't show emotion. Men didn't talk about their failings or anything like that. And I remember that one of the places that I had to go, and I was going there once a week, was the Bayonne Mental Community Health Center. And I spoke with a woman there named Mrs. Grant, who's obviously long gone. And I loved going. I absolutely loved, because it took me a little while to open up to her. But I was free to express my opinion. I was free to talk about what happened to me during the week and offer my opinion. I can never articulate certain things because, again, I'm 11, you know, but it was a place where somebody valued my opinion. I could offer my opinion without being told to shut up. What do I know? You know, don't talk about something unless you know what you're talking about, Mark. Any of those things ring true, let me know. Leave a comment. But I was asked to do this video because a friend of mine wanted me to. Suicide isn't the problem, it's the solution. I wasn't crying, I didn't have tears in my eyes. I wasn't thinking, Dad's gonna miss me. I wasn't thinking, Robert's gonna miss me. I didn't think Jackie's gonna miss me or anybody else. I didn't even think about my friends at the time. All I thought about was, how much is this gonna hurt when I hit the water? That's the only thing that was obsessed in my mind. I was gonna do this. This was gonna happen. When you can't handle going through another day, 11 years old, I should have been up watching cartoons and then hanging out with my friends. It was a Saturday. But I couldn't handle being told I was a failure just for another friggin' day. So don't say that we're selfish. Ever. We're in pain. We're in a pain that cannot be stopped, that is ongoing, that is relentless, that is more than a cloud hanging over you. It's a monster that you can't defeat. And the only way to get rid of that pain is to take yourself out of the equation. And when you realize that, then all of a sudden it becomes a solution. I'm not here. They can't tell me I'm a failure. If I'm not here, they can't mock me. They can't ridicule me. They can't beat me up. That's the problem for me with suicide. People get beaten down so badly that it's the only viable option left to them. We aren't selfish. We're in pain. Now, to anybody thinking this, don't. If you like going for walks or riding your bike or whatever makes you happy, if you take your life, you'll never get to do that again. You know, it's small steps. As much as you just want it to go away and be out of the situation you're in, it's small steps. There are groups out there that can help you. People that will listen. And again, a lot of times family and friends just don't get it. You know, there are resources available to you. I mean, 11 years old, it's 1973. I didn't know what resources were open to me. But I thank God that trooper grabbed me when he did. It does get better. You just have to seek the help that you need.